Now, what I'll be showing you today is just one particular instance of a community outreach program. Like I say, it's one particular instance. We can configure CareRight to address any other areas that were required. This is just one particular instance just to show the capability of how we could coordinate such activities. So you should be able to see my screen now. This all kicks off at a location base within CareRight. And today I'll be using Clintel Hospital. So now that I'm at the location view, all of these options on the left-hand side are relevant to that specific location. If I go into documents, here we have unmatched documents. Now, what we're going to assume today, these are incoming referrals, and we don't know who the patient is yet, and we're going to check whether we have that patient in the system. So the first thing we want to do is look at one of these documents. So I'm just going to go to match. I'm going to go down, and as you can see, this is regarding a patient called Mr. Rampling. So if I go back up and I search for, and I'm just going to make up a first name, Edward Rampling, you can see there's no matches in the system. So that tells us we don't have this patient in the system at the moment. So we're going to delete that. And what we're going to do is create a patient. First thing we're going to do is put him into a location. Last name is Edward. Last name is Rampling. We'll put in a gender and just a date of birth. I will also put in a mobile phone number because I want to show you how we can share registration assessment via both text message and via email. There we go. And we must say that the patient has okayed that kind of communication. So we're going to hit create client. So we've added that client to the database. And now we're just looking over the referral. We can confirm, yes, it is a referral letter. Otherwise, we can call it something else. And now we go update document. Now we're one less incoming referral. If I just go to documents now and scroll down, we can see that we've assigned this referral letter to a patient called Edward Rampling. Now, the start of this workflow kicks off in that now that we've registered Edward as a patient, and now I can click into his account, I can now go to assessments and I can see that this intake assessment is waiting to be performed. So the task can be sent to your admin team to say, new patient, make sure you do this intake assessment. They can click on a link which will take them through to this intake assessment. And at this point, we're going to hit perform. And just a reminder, this is the admin person working through this. So they can continue to fill out any information to the smart form. As a reminder, smart forms within CareRight have a high degree of functionality. We can put in any questions here. We can make those mandatory fields if you like. There could be drop-down boxes. And sometimes when you put an answer into one of the boxes, it can then populate a whole nother section of a smart form previously unseen. So really nice functionality with the smart forms. Here we have the opportunity to add in a referral information. Why not, just for demonstration purposes today. Here I'm tapping into our referral database, all of the referrers that we've listed. Reason for referral, let's just say treatment. Now, at this point, we can, and this is going to kick off another workflow for us, and you can see it's a mandatory field. Here we can make the decision, is this client eligible for our services, not eligible, or do we want to come back and make a decision later? Just for our demonstration purposes today, we're going to say eligible. And as you can see, it's telling you that the workflow that will be kicked off here will be a patient will be sent out a link to register for the patient portal, aka the patient interactive module, and a waitlist entry to book that patient and an appointment will be added. So here we're going to hit approve. Lovely. Done. Now I'm going to assume that I'm an admin person and it's 9 a.m. and I'm logging in for the first time today. I can go down to my tasks. And I can see that there's a new task that's been created. It's been sent to the admin group, so whoever's working on this particular day can pick it up and run with it. So I'm that person. I can see there's a new task for Edward Rampling. I can hit show, and all I have to do is please send a registration link to the patient. That's okay, I can do that. So I'm going to assign it to myself. And now if I go back to tasks, you can see that that task has been assigned to me. Now, what I'm going to do is go into Edward's account, and under assessments, the assessment that I have to send him via that patient portal link is already sitting here waiting for me. So at this point, I can go into it and I can choose whether I want to send that out to the patient via email, via SMS, or via QR code. Okay, and that will send it out to the patient, and the patient can log into that via secure link and complete that on either a phone or a computer in the comfort of their own home. The other thing that's occurred is if I go to waitlist, I can see that there's a new entry in the waitlist that needs to be found an appointment. That form that we sent out to Edward, let's go back to that. Edward would have gone through, and we can make this whatever you want it to be. This is just an example of a registration form. But at the end, we could have in something here like, could you please indicate your appointment date and time preference? And whatever information is fed in there, once it's completed, can be fed into that waitlist entry as well. So then as the admin person needing to convert that waitlist entry into an appointment, I can just go to the global dashboard. Here you can search for any particular calendar you want. I'm just going to search for all providers. And I know that I have some free time on the 5th of August, which I'll just go back to. Here we go. And if I populate my wait list, I can see Edward Rampling is then waiting there for me. And then all I have to do is just drag and drop that into wherever the patient had said is their preference for a date and a time. Okay, so that's the patient booked. And at this point, we can automate or you can send out manual text messages. Easiest way to, we won't have to do anything for automated text message reminders, but for manual ones, if you go up to list view, on in list view, it's a really nice detail of which patients we have booked in on this particular day. As you can see, Edward Rampling is down here at 1 p.m., which was his preference. If I wanted to send an SMS, I can either select all and send an SMS, or I can just click on one and send SMS. And you can make use of any of your favorite templates, or you can write a custom text message. And remember, within CareRight, it's two-way SMS. So all of that SMS is two-way and is all stored within the correspondence folder within the patient's account in CareRight. So I'm pretending now I'm the healthcare provider about to do this appointment for the patient. I can update the status of the patient. I might say, yep, I'm taking him into consultation. If I wanted to find out any more detail about Edward, I could just right click, open up a new tab, and I could get right into Edward's profile there and review anything I needed to. But what I'm going to do as part of this consultation, I want to use my template to do that. And as you can see, that template is already added here on the appointment for a really nice automated transition into consulting. So I'm going to hit form. Again, don't get bogged down the detail here. This can be whatever you want it to be. And anything you want to work through as part of a consultation that you want to do with a patient at this particular time. I'm just going to skip over most of it. What I did want to show you is just some more CareRight smart form automation. Here I can say, yes, I want to follow this patient up. And as you can see, a follow-up will be added. And I also want to put in some billing item numbers too. So I might charge a 105 and a 104 today, just for example. And now I'm going to hit approve. Okay, so that's that consultation complete on Edward Rampling. As you can see, that form has now gone to a view entry, as that's been all locked away and saved to the patient's clinical record. If I did want to keep that as an editable record, all I'd have to do is just hit save and continue rather than approve. But if I go into Edward Rampling's file now, just to show you, Within clinical notes, we can see that assessment that we just completed on the patient is stored there. And in the future, we could search for any particular clinical note that we wanted to. In this particular one, we'd be searching for assessment, so we could do a full search there to have a look. But just to finish off our workflow today, if we go down to follow-ups, we will see that a new follow-up has been entered, which is for Edward Rampling. If we hit show, that follow-up will stay in the follow-up bucket until somebody completes it. Once it is complete, we can just mark it as complete, and now that's stored away in the audit trail for further use. The other thing to show too, if we go to events, we will see that there's events in here for Edward Rampling every time we enter billing item numbers, and it can even be as complex as multi-day or over, a month, or it could even be the other way. It could be the patients going from nurse to doctor again. Each clinician is entering in billing item numbers. So instead of a 1 being here under events, we'd actually have 4 in that case. And all the admin person has to do is hit show, see all of those billing item numbers, select all, and then just invoice from here and take payment or to claim, of course. The last thing that we'd want to do is follow-up care with the patient. We can do that again via the assessments tab within the patient's record. If I go to new, here I'm searching for all of the assessments we have within our CareRight instance. As you can see, there's pages upon pages. Perhaps one is 1 month after consultation follow-up with a series of questions. And let's just say, for instance, one of the questions is, are you still having trouble? And the patient answers yes. That might initiate a workflow to book that patient for another follow-up appointment and get them back in. But what we'd do, we would just find the assessment, very similar to what we did with this assessment back here, new patient registration. I might just find that one up just for an example. New patient registration, and we can queue that one up, and then we can choose whether we want to send that one out via email, SMS, or QR code just for your post-consultation care. Okay, that wraps up just one particular example of a community outreach workflow today. We can make full use of all functionality within CareRight and place that end on end to achieve any desired workflows. Thank you for your time.